This is up and running. Looks like it. There we go. Right, welcome to a new season. This is, let's find some people out on track. We got Forcer back. This is season 5 now of ACC, so we're getting through them. Last season, Morrow was our champion. So, and he's back for more, still in the Ferrari. All of the ART boys are. There's quite a few of them there this season, actually more than last season. So the numbers are growing. But yeah, lots of drivers driving different cars. You can see Force just going through there. He's still in the Porsche. He was in the Porsche as well last season. We got Popov. He is in silver this season. Only made a couple of starts. He's in the McLaren. Lovely McLaren, as it goes a little bit wide on the exit of that corner up the hill. New driver, Salis, is an ART boy. I have Capel in his famous livery. It's just, I mean, at least you can spot him on the stream. That is something to his credit, because no one else has anything that looks like that. Maura is back in silver once again in the BMW. Only one of a couple of actually 3 BMWs on track this season. We got 1 Bentley. That's Dan, who's currently in the pits. Loads of Ferraris. Look how many Ferraris there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 Ferraris on the grid. So practice has finished. We had a very short practice because we had to reset the lobby so that I could be let in. But yeah, number 227 is the first one out on track. That is going to be Freivogel, another ART boy. All the ART drivers probably sharing setups and strategies because they are all in the Ferraris. Which is quite a benefit, actually. 5 drivers or 6 drivers all contributing to perfecting the setup during the week. Yeah, Freivogel, the first one out on track. He is in gold tier, it looks like, this season. So that is a big step up. He was in bronze, but he did have pace, really solid pace. Was in the top 3 for 1 or 2 races before encountering some issues later on in the race and falling back a little bit. Regnix is another BMW driver, so there's BMW driver number 4. He is just behind Freivogel again in the gold. He's a former champion in ALR, in ACC as well, so always one to watch out for getting a good result. Omoda in P4, he's gone with the AMG this season. That is definitely a change. I can't remember what he was in last season. It wasn't the AMG though. So it'll be interesting to see what he could do with this new car. Not many people in the AMG. I think he's the only one on the track in the AMG. So maybe it's a preference choice rather than trying to get one of the quickest cars. But we do have BOP, balance of performance, in this league. So all of the cars have been brought closer together than what they naturally are on ACC. Scanlon in the Aston Martin once again. He was in the Aston Martin last season, so seems to be enjoying that. Potentially could put title challenge in place if he gets these consistent podiums. He was always in and around the top 5 and got a good championship position because of that. I can't remember if he won a race. I think he might have won one of the races as well. Fede Cabras is up into gold for the first time, promoted from silver tier last season. Had some really good pace. He's in again ART boy in the Ferrari. Sanchez is a new one. I'm not sure who he is. He's in bronze tier, so it'll be interesting to see what he could do. Look, I think this is his first race with us. And we have Paris in the Bentley that we were talking about earlier. The only Bentley on the track, but it is a very good car. Surprised it's not been picked more. Blocker in bronze. He's in the Ferrari this season. he'll be trying to get some top 20s. I think we're going to have 30 cars on the grid today, and we are currently going through the opening sectors. I think Freivogel's just about to start his hot lap, actually, so we'll stick with him for a little bit and see how he tackles the corners. The first one coming up is a really tight corkscrew kind of corner. You have to turn left twice before getting on the power, but you need to keep hugging the inside lines, hitting the apexes, and getting a good slingshot out, which it looks like Freivogel's managed to do. He is currently 2/10 off of Cabras, actually. Freddie Cabras is on provisional pole with Regnix in third. Tidswell up in fourth. Tidswell is Big Beaver in GT and on Discord. So he's done pretty well on his debut in that Ferrari. Then we have Weatherston, who looks like he's just popped up into P2 as well. He's in the Lamborghini this season, so he's in the Honda last season. No one's picked that one up, either with the balance of performance. It is still not a very good car, so Davey will be trying to put in a more of a title challenge. He finished second behind Morrow, but let's try and find Morrow. Speaking of him, is he actually racing tonight? I don't see his name. Okay, instead, let's go on with Bomber. Let's see how he tackles the final sector he's going through now. Aston Martin, there's no Astons in the top 10. Looks like Steedstra is another one in the Aston, so it is a little bit underused, I would say. Another one that could be selected a bit more, but let's see where Bomber goes. He goes straight up into P1. He is almost 2/10 quicker than Freivogel, who's up into P2 ahead of Cabras now. And Andy Winters actually goes 3/10 quicker than Scanlon in his Mustang. Okay, that's a very good lap from Andy. Hello, everyone. Yeah, so it looks like Morrow isn't actually going to take part today, which is pretty sad. Let's have a look at Weston. Weston put in some really solid performances. He's just halfway around his lap now. He's gone for the Ferrari this season as well. Can't remember what he was in last time. Here we go, approaching the corkscrew, the most difficult corner in the game. Everyone seems to be negotiating it pretty well though. And then this one is a tyre killer, this corner. Very difficult to get right. Don't really need to brake for it. So we'll have to see what these guys could do with their consistency around those two corners just towards the end of the track, and then this really difficult left-hander. It looks pretty straightforward, but to get it right and to get a good exit is pretty tricky. So what can Weston do? He's currently down in 28th. He has now gone up to 14th place. He's 1.3 seconds off of Freivogel, who's just gone half a tenth quicker than Andy Winters. So he's on a 22.5 now. So we're getting down there. We've got 13 minutes of qualifying left, so plenty of opportunity for some of these guys to improve. Let's see what Davey's up to. Davey in his Lamborghini Huracan is just about to turn the final corner, so he's looking for at least 7/10 of a second to get back up there. Capel's just popped up into P3 with a great lap. Tidswell up into P4 as well. The times are coming down now. Weatherston goes in provisional pole with a 22.54, very slightly ahead of Freivogel. In that, then it's Andy, then it's Cabras, so, excuse me, losing my voice. Andrea Cabras, then we have Capel, then it's Tidswell, Scadlin, Tierney, Paris, and Salis in the top 10. Let's see who's outside the top 10 who I would be expecting to do a little bit better. We got the BMW of Regnix here. He's down in 14th, 1.1 seconds off the pace, which is a little bit more than usual. Expected to see an improvement on this lap from Reg, and we'll keep an eye out on anyone else who improves in the meantime. Oh, he's got it to the pits. Oh no, he's not. He's just bailing out of the lap. Okay. Anyone else? Let's have a look at Forza. Forza is, sole Porsche it looks like, representing, and he's currently outside the top 20. Forza's won quite a few races in ACC, so expected to see him a little bit higher up here. Let's see what he could do around some of these corners. He's just coming out of the first sector now. And we'll keep an eye on the top of the times as well. Looks like Freddy Cabras is up into P5. Now, Skinsy approaching the corkscrew. Let's see how we can negotiate it. Oh, someone's gone very wrong at the corkscrew, gone straight on. Gets out of the way of Skinsy, so it doesn't look like it'll have impeded him. So the times are tumbling a little bit, but like you got Steenstru's just gone up into P9. Capel's dropped all the way down into 8th after being 3rd earlier. That's how the times are improving. What can Skinsy do? He's still down in 23rd, so he didn't even improve on his lap time there. What about Oliver? Not set time yet. Potentially due to invalidations. If you do cut a corner, it just completely deletes your whole lap in qualifying in ACC. And he has popped up into P16, so halfway up the grid there is Fracas on a lap, because Fracas is one of the only ones, he's in a lot of traffic there, who hasn't set a lap, so again, probably a victim of some invalidations. O'Leary down in P28 as well, you don't expect to see him that low. Got a little bit of time before Fracas actually completes his lap, so let's see who else we can have a look at. We got Davey in P1, Freivogel is out setting a lap. Let's join him. Yeah, really impressive qualifying to be up in P2. It looks like Davey did beat his own fastest lap to extend by another 1/10 of a second on Freivogel, so he's got to find probably 2/10 on this lap, and he's encountering potentially a little bit of traffic as well. Driver in front of might be, well, he's probably on his own hot lap, so this is definitely going to impede Freivogel. I think that is, unless he gets some good slipstream, let's stick with him. Can he improve on his time? No, he can't. And now his next lap's going to be impeded as well. Andy Winters, let's no, actually he's too early on in the lap. As is Dan. Dan just coming out of the pits himself. Coldman, who is a silver driver, it looks like he's bronze, but he's actually silver, is up into P7. So that's a very good time. He's only 3/10 off of pole as he's coming round the corner. Can he actually beat that time again? One of a couple of Mustangs here. Both Mustangs look like they're performing well. Doesn't improve that time. Got Scanlon about to finish his lap. He's only down in 8th, but he's still not that far away from the pole position. He doesn't... Oh, he does actually. He jumps up into 7th, so a very small improvement puts him ahead of Coldman. Steestra just approaching the final turn now. He's not actually on a hot lap. Got Dandes, our silver champion, just about to set another time. He's currently down in P19. Opted for the Ferrari this season as well, so we'll see how he can do in silver. He's currently 5th in class, so not too bad. About Rotikos, oh, someone span. I didn't catch that livery, a turquoise one, quite a dramatic one. Yeah, so Rotikos down in P18 at the moment. The field is pretty close, top 15 separated by 0.8 of a second currently. Now can he improve? No improvement that time. Paris meanwhile has popped up into P3. So he's quite low down and he's found quite a big improvement there. He's ahead of Andy, he's ahead of Andy Cabras. Just 1 second, I need to plug my headphones in. There we go. So yeah, he's having a great qualifying on his gold debut. Freivogel just about to come up to the bus stop. This is a lap that doesn't look like it's being impeded, so he could potentially be on to beat Davies' time. Davies just a little bit further back on track, I think. Yeah, we're in the 22.3s now. And he has done it by a tenth of a second. A 22.28 puts him just over a tenth of a second up on Davey. Davey, we're going to follow now as well. He's just going up the hill towards the corkscrew as we speak. He needs to get down into the 22.1s really if he wants to get this pole position. Another solid, really good lap but there by Freivogel. Yeah, despite being in a little bit of traffic a bit earlier on, he really is in the zone. Okay, here we go. Final corner. Davey's got 0.117 to find on Freivogel. Can he respond? No. He stays P2 for at least another lap. We've got 6 minutes to go. Plenty of time still for more times to tumble. Coldman's just popped himself up into P3 as well with an absolutely fantastic lap there. I think maybe he needs to be put into gold if this is what his pace is going to be like. We'll have to wait and see what his race pace is like. But that Ford is very strong. The Mustang is in 2 of the top 5 positions. The other one is Andy Winters, who's just started another lap in a little bit of traffic with a Lexus. Is that a Lexus? Yeah, Chaos is in a Lexus. So we got one Lexus on the field. That's interesting. Freivogel's just coming out of the pits, it looks like. So he is putting on a fresh set of tyres and going for it again. Davey is just approaching the corkscrew now. Let's see how he takes it. Lovely. Coldman looks like he's just started a lap again. So he didn't go faster that time around. What about Dan? Dan's on a new lap as well. Cabras, Andy Cabras, what can he do? He's P6. He stays P6 for now. Regnick's down in P17, just about to finish a lap. He stays, well, he's down to 17th now, yeah. Not great for Reg there at the moment. We've got Steenstra just coming around. Let's see what he can do. Half a second down at the moment. And he stays in P12 as well. So people struggling to improve on the times. Freddie Cabras also doesn't improve on his time. He's just gone round again. What about Capel? Capel's just about to cross the start-finish line again. He's just fallen outside the top 10. Behind Tidswell, who's on his debut. Behind some, yeah, a lot of drivers putting in a really good shift here. Weston has popped himself up into P8. Can he find another improvement here? Oh no, he's gone into the gravel on the exit. Just took a little bit too much speed. Maybe got on the throttle a little bit too early. And he's going to stay P8 for now. He's got 3 minutes and 48 seconds to try and improve on that. Andy Cabras about to cross the finish line again, and he stays P6 still. What about Scanlon? Scanlon approaching the final corner now, ahead of a little bit of traffic. That Andy Winters right behind him as well. So 2 drivers in the top 7 about to cross the finish line. Scanlon stays P7. Andy looks like he stays P5 as well. So time is ticking. There's not many more opportunities yet. No one's found a response to Freivogel. Weatherston's been and gone, and he's still in second place. Freivogel is trying to improve on his time. Let's see what he can do. 22.28 at the moment. And it looks like it stays there, so he's got 2 more laps to try and beat that time. Now everyone's coming through thick and fast, but no one seems to be really improving on the times at the moment. We've got Oliver just coming through there as well. He stays 14th. Morrow has joined. He's just been late. Morrow on a lap now, so let's stick with him, and we'll keep an eye on the top as well, because this might be his only chance to actually set a time here. Late to qualifying, and he's finally appeared on our timing screens. So the pressure is on. If anyone can do this, it's Coleman. Weston, meanwhile, has popped up into P2. He's 2,000th off of Freivogel's time, so he'll be pretty frustrated that he's in provisional P2 after getting that close. Now let's see how Morrow approaches the corkscrew. It looks pretty smooth. Cuts a big chunk of the corner on the inside there, which can destabilize the car, but he seems to be very smooth. Yeah, using the full width of the track. This is, I predict, going to be potentially top 5. We're looking for a low 22 here. Oh, he only goes into 13th. He's half a second off. So a high 22. And he's got one more lap to find any more time. Let's join with Davey. He's only got a couple of corners left. This is going to be his penultimate lap. He'll squeeze one more in. Currently only 1/10 down. Not improved his time in quite a while. He doesn't improve again by the looks of it. Paris in P5, does he improve 2/10 down? Stays 2/10 down. Looks like Scanlon's popped himself up into P6 there. Now the question is, can Freivogel actually improve on his time? 22.28 still remains the pole time. He is going to squeeze an extra lap in as well, so he's timed this absolutely perfectly. 10 seconds to go. Doesn't actually improve that time. He's got one more chance to do it. Let's find Morrow. He's still down in 13th, just coming around the corner. This is his final lap because he's just rounded the final corner and the time has ticked to 0. He had 2 laps to do it. What's he going to do? Is he going to get in the top 10? He doesn't actually improve, or he does improve, but only up to 13th. He's 4/10ths back now instead of 5/10ths back. Freivogel's reset to pits. Weston has just finished. He hasn't beaten his previous best time. Davy's going to be the next one to approach the finish line. Best chance of getting pole position apart from Freivogel now lies with Davy. What can he do out of this final corner? Big long run to the finish line, and he does it. He actually does it by 0.013 of a second. Davy is on pole position. That is extraordinary. Kid Paris is in the pit. Scanlon might have a chance of getting closer. He's in P6 at the moment. He's dropped to P7 actually. It looks like Coleman, or no, Andy Winters has actually gone quicker than Davy now. Andy on pole position for race 1 of the season with a time out of nowhere. He wasn't in the top 5, and he just set the lap of his life there. That's wow, very, very impressive, I've got to say. There's still a few drivers coming around to finish the laps. I think Capel is one of them. There we go. See, he's got P8 at the moment, pretty solid qualifying, but can he improve? No, he stays P8. Dan in the pits, Cabras in the pits, Tidswell in the pits, Omoda in the gravel. Yeah, I think it's pretty much done that. Alright, I need to return to the garage. So, Andy on pole position for gold tier for the very first race of the season. I think it's the first pole that he's ever had. Davey lining up right next to him. Freivogel improving his time, but still, no, actually, he didn't improve his time in the end. But him and Weston were all within 0.07 of a second, so the top 4 separate by virtually nothing. Coleman, who is the silver driver, gets silver pole in 5th place. So you have Dan Scanlon, Capel, Andy Cabras, Freddie Cabras, and Tidswell. Oh, interesting. That is not the usual order of the Cabras brothers. And then we have Morrow all the way down in 13th, and then we have to go outside the top 20 to get to the bronze pole, which is Van Hall. So well done to Van Hall, and Chaos in P2, and Sanchez on his debut is 3rd. So yeah. So as everyone has to do every time, just 1 second. They have to reset their settings and make any adjustments to the cars they want to make in terms of the setup, decide what fuel to start on, and what temperature, crucially, that the tyres should be starting on so that they can keep them in the zone and stop them overheating. So whilst they're doing that, I understand that The Cabras brothers' father's birthday is today, so I just wanted to give Alessandro a little shout out. Happy birthday! Hopefully your children can have a good a good race and yeah, finish in the top 5 potentially. So let's have a look at some predictions then. Who's gonna win? Who am I giving the kiss of death to? I mean, you can't ever rule against Davey. Davey's got a history of having much better race consistency than Andy and Freivogel in his very short career. Weston's very well placed to get a podium on his first race of the season, so I'm going to watch out for him as well. Coleman, can he keep up with the pace? Or is he going to make some rookie errors? Because he's still pretty new to ACC. He's actually leading the Tier 1 GT 7 championship currently. So, yeah, trying to do the double potentially this season and win silver tier. I think it's going to be him or Andy Cabras who win in silver. Everyone else is starting a little bit too far back. They'll have to have an amazing start. Reg all the way down in 18th. Disaster. And then, oh, I have absolutely no idea for bronze. Bronze. Let's go for... I don't know. Let's go for Fracas. My fellow GT7 helper, Fracas. He's pretty consistent. I don't know what happened in qualifying though. Okay, 10 seconds before we get going. So, what ends up happening is they do a little warm-up lap, line up, and it's a rolling start side by side. And going into this turn 1, I'm pretty certain there's going to be some carnage. 30 cars into this turn 1 is absolutely crazy. So that's bad news for everyone who's in the mid-pack, essentially. Because if someone behind, just one of these drivers misses the braking point, it's going to be a huge concertina effect, like a bowling ball, essentially. Multiple drivers will be going straight on into the dirt, the sand. Well, I see. Maybe I'm being too pessimistic. It'll all be fine. So the job for Andy is just to make sure he reacts to the start line as quickly as possible. If you could get a car length up on Davey before the turn in for turn 1, that would allow him to basically block him off in terms of trying to get alongside in the braking. We'll have to wait and see. I don't know what side Andy's going to be on. You really want to be on the left side. So going up to the corkscrew for the first time, let's just have a little look down at the grid. There's a few people right at the back, really far back. What's going on? Incidents, incidents at in the warm-up lap, which I think they're all ghosted as well. I don't actually think they can make contact with each other on this warm-up lap. Interesting, actually. So there's no Peter tonight. Was in the Ford Mustang and got it on pole position a few times last season. Now we've seen the Ford Mustang in pole, but with a different driver. So it's definitely a good car. And yeah, like I said, I'm surprised not many people chose it. I mean, Coleman in silver's up in P5 with it as well. So everyone's starting to line up side by side. It's going to be a long run down to the green light though. Look at the mini-map, you can see the checkered flag. It's quite far down the track, so they're going to not see green for a little while here. So season 5 of ACC is on. We are at Laguna. Seca on the run down to turn 1. It looks like Davey got a little bit of a better start than Andy, but Andy crucially has the inside line into turn 1, squeezes Davey a little bit wide there, really wants to keep his place and has advantage now. Davey going a little bit wide around turn 1, Freivogel having a little look there as well. But crucially for Andy, he is still in P1 for now as they finally round this left-hander, which completes the first sector of the track. And that is why the standings going absolutely crazy. But yeah, Andy, drive through for Burkhardt. That's not great. Already a drive through. So just waiting for a couple of drivers to actually finish the first sector, and then it'll be back to normal. So yeah, no big changes apart from Coldman did manage to get past Weston in that opening phase. So good start for Coldman. Let's stick with Andy though. He's worked up a 0.4 of a second lead on Davey. It's all very, very close still. Basically the entire field are all within 1 second of the car ahead. Oh, sorry. Audio was talking to me and I didn't see it. Whoops. Okay, as we break for the final corner, Andy looks like he's looking pretty good, pretty cool, calm and composed at this stage of the race as he leads. It looks like he's stretching on Davey there. Maybe got a better exit. He's over half a second, excuse me, up on Davey. And Coldman is dropping back on Freivogel a little bit. Some gaps starting to form now. Coldman and Weston pretty close together. Scanlon just ahead of Paris and Capel and Steenstra. As we look down, looks like Andy Cabras is in P10, and his teammate, his brother Freddie, is all the way down in 19th with this huge pack of cars. He's stuck behind Forster, so Forster's had a good start. He's up in the top 20 for now, but yeah, Freddie looks like he's pretty impatient. He's going to get partly alongside. He's given the space, and yeah, Forster. Well, that's not Forster. Sorry, that's Druid. And Forster, it's difficult, it's difficult. Hold on, guys. I thought I was doing a good job there, never mind. Let's have a look at Morrow. Morrow's up into P13 as we go into the corkscrew. The big train headed by Capel and his ugly car. And as, yeah, Morrow hasn't made any progress since the start of the race. He did start in P13 as well. But he is looking pretty fast. He's having a little look at Omoda. Omoda's not going to give him a spot that easily, but Morrow might try. No, he doesn't try the dive bomb. He tucks up behind Omoda and is going to try and get a better slingshot out of the exit. This is Ferrari versus Mercedes down the home straight as we finish another lap. It looks like Morrow's not going to have enough to pull alongside. Looks like he's losing a bit of time to Omoda as that straight went on. Let's go back to the front. We've got Andy building up almost, well, he's approaching a second now. He's gone up to 0.8 of a second up on Davey. So Davey may be struggling very slightly to keep up with Andy, and Freivogel very close behind as well. Coldman starting to close the gap a little bit on them as well. Weston's dropped behind Scanlon, so he's going backwards in this race. Unfortunately for him, he's had such a good qualifying. And yeah, Andy looking pretty composed at this point. Oh, it looked a little bit almost like a corner cut there for Freivogel. I'm not too sure. Let's have a look at what's going on in bronze. It looks like Van Hall is just ahead of Chaos, and Forster's not in bronze. Forster's a reserve. So that's pretty tight. Van Hall was on pole position. I think Chaos was second in class. So he's done pretty well, and they've made progress because they weren't inside the top 20 at the start of the race. Let's have a look further down. Who's had a nightmare of a start? Regnick's down in P28. Eroticos in P29. Tierney's not had a good start. Fracas, he's 25th. It was my prediction to win bronze. He's got a very battered BMW. Looks like Mara's just made... well, oh, Force has dropped back to 20th, so he's had an issue somewhere. Okay. This car looks alright though, but he was just behind Chaos, and now Freddie Cabras is ahead of Chaos as well, so there's been some sort of coming together between some of those guys. Coleman doing pretty well to keep up with these guys. He's barely 2 seconds back on Andy in the lead. Just drifting in and out of that 1 second barrier that he's got. But yeah, no battling really going on at the moment. Dan, a solid 6/10 ahead of Capel, so he's not really holding Capel up, I would say. Well, there's stuff happening all the way back down here, but I'm not too sure. Oh, Reg is off track, he's fallen back. It looks like he's dropped a position to Rotikos there. He has, yeah, that's unfortunate. So having a very tough debut, Reg. After I was saying he could nick a win or two this season. I'll still stand by that. Davey's starting to close in a little bit on Andy, so let's stick with this battle again. He's starting to put a bit of pressure on Andy now, so potentially was just relaxing a little bit and keeping Andy within his sights, not too far in the distance, and now he's definitely piling on the pressure. Andy is pretty composed though. He's had some pretty good results, but yeah, last season there was just a few moments where he really should have had, you know, top 5 results, and something's happened. So he's looking for a little bit more good fortune, and so far so good. We're only 5 laps in. We've got 52 minutes to go. It feels like the gaps are really starting to open up already, though, as we look down the field. Yeah, not much Davey can do at the moment. I'm hoping for a little bit of action, to be honest. Freivogel's dropped a little bit off of these guys, so struggling to keep up with the pace at the front, and Coleman and Scanlon are now getting a bit closer, so Scanlon making some really good progress in this race so far. I think he might have been a little bit disappointed with his qualifying. Looks like Dan is at the front of a bit of a train now as well. Capel will be wanting to get past sooner rather than later. But yeah, overtaking's pretty difficult here as long as the driver in front just takes his lines. Capel just barely 0.2 of a second back as we head into the final corner, and it's all going to come down to who gets a better exit. It looks like Capel got a pretty good exit. He's still got about a car length and a bit before he catches up to Dan. It's probably still not going to be enough because this run down into turn 1 is so short. So Dan survives for another lap. At the front, Davey is getting impatient. He's starting to position his car in. Oh, he's got off track. He's got off track. Oh, he was pushing so hard. He's just lost a couple of positions there. Make that 3. So Freivogel up into P2. Andy Winters, a huge sigh of relief for him. He's now got a fairly solid lead. He was 1.3 ahead of Freivogel. Freivogel probably had to get out of the way a little bit of Davey. Very fortunate that there was no big incident there. And actually he got going pretty quick. The fact that he's down in P5 now. He's got Scanlon in P4, Coleman in P3. That's fantastic, to be honest. And then we got Freivogel in second, on for his best result by a country mile as well. And Andy with a 1.4 second lead at the moment. Now the question is, can he extend it and get an even bigger cushion? Because we've got another 20 odd minutes to go before everyone starts making their pit stops. Usually people do make their pit stop, the one mandatory pit stop, in the middle of the race. It's quite a long one as well, so you have to time it really well. with regards to traffic. If you've not got any traffic, try and extend as much as you can, and if you're in traffic, you might as well see if you come out in some clear air. Lots of races won and lost in the pit stop period as well. Still the gap is 1.4, so Freivogel matching Andy Witz's pace at the moment. Coldman's starting to drop off a little bit, but Scanlon's keeping up with Coldman pretty well. So Scanlon fancying a podium on his debut. Davey is 1 second behind Scanlon. So potentially struggling a little bit, maybe lost a little bit of performance in his tyres with that spin. Yeah, he's dropped another 10th in that sector to Scanlon as well. Freivogel's made a mistake somewhere. And he's gone off again. People are starting to struggle now, and he's gone. Oh, he's completely, fortunately for Coldman especially, completely missed him by the skin of his teeth. That must have been, yeah, Code Brown moment. And now there's going to be contact as well. I don't know who that was. Oh, that's a disaster. That is a disaster. Unsafe rejoin there as well for Freivogel. It's all gone wrong. Coldman at the head of a very tight pack now, as everyone bunched together trying to get out of the way. We've got Davey right behind Scanlon as well, putting a lot of pressure on. So everything's livened up all of a sudden. Looks like, I think that's Capel in the pits. He's got into the pits. Maybe that's to make his pit stop, I'm assuming. I don't think he was involved in any of the drama, unless there was something that I missed. So Andy Wintz is in all that melee. He's worked up a 3.6 second lead now. And all of a sudden Coldman's looking a little bit defensive as well. So if he does have to start driving more defensively, that's going to make the gap even bigger, potentially. He's defending pretty well now. Looks like Scanlon is putting a lot of pressure on him, and Davey's really close to Scanlon as well, potentially even closer. So we might see a little... Let's see if anyone's brave on the brakes here. Looks a little bit deep there for Coldman into turn one. This allowed Scanlon to close the gap a little bit again. Weston joining this battle now as well. You can see in the back there. I'm wondering if Capel tried an early pit in order to get an undercut done on Dan. He was stuck behind Dan. He is in clear air, just coming round turn 2 now. Anyway, at the front, here comes Scanlon. He's looking very impatient behind Coldman. Maybe trying to force Coldman into an error. Looked like Scanlon was a little bit twitchy around that corner. Lost a bit of momentum. Davey's going to close in on him now. Regains his composure. Stays P3. Andy stretches his lead to 4 seconds now in all this. A little bit wide there for Scanlon. Yeah, everyone's pretty spaced out as they come down the home straight. But we've got Steenstra with Morrow. Morrow worked his way up into P8 now on his recovery drive after his late join in qualifying. And can't really get close enough at the moment. Omoda in P9, Freddie Cabras in P10 ahead of Andy Cabras. We got Forcer up into 12th now. I think a lot of drivers will have made their pit stops. Well, actually, no, it's only Capel, Freivogel, and Salis who've made theirs. Where's the action? Looks like it's still at the front. Scanlon is putting a little bit of pressure on Coldman again. What he's doing is going offline, trying to get in his mirrors, make him double think and get the mistake out of the driver in front that way. But it's not working on Coldman. He's composed himself pretty well here. He's actually caught up to Andy. Andy must have had a mistake because the gap's now down to 2.9 seconds. So yeah, Andy's definitely made a little mistake somewhere. Got to regain his composure. Davey's got the fastest lap as well. So we've got a couple of drivers in the pits. We've got Tidswell and Maurer in the pits. Tidswell was around about 10th place. Both of them have a lot of damage. I think it might have been Tidswell who made the contact with Freivogel potentially. I'm not too sure. So they'll be probably repairing the cars as well. So I'm expecting them to come out behind Capel. Yeah, Capel's already gone past them. So where does that leave Bronze? At the moment, Chaos is leading the race with his Lexus in Bronze. He's up in P14. None of the Bronze drivers have actually pit yet, so that's fantastic. Ignore these two. These aren't Bronze. Coleman and Forster are not Bronze drivers. So yeah, really solid start for Chaos. Looks like he's got quite a bit of a gap on P2, which is Blocker at the moment. So Van Hals dropped down when he was pretty high up. I think he was in P1 when we were looking at it earlier. Coleman, meanwhile, P2 in the overall rankings of the race, P1 in silver by quite a long way at this point. Still defending well. Morrow has come up to the back of Steenstra now. So hasn't worked his way up anymore. Putting a bit of pressure on Steenstra. It looks like he's comfortable driving pretty close to the back of Steenstra to try and put pressure on him. Oh, a little bit of a overtake attempt. And who is that who's gone wide? I can't see. I think it was a lapped car, that's why. I thought it was one of the lead drivers, but it clearly wasn't. Never mind. I'm very desperate for action that I'm going to take that as an overtake. So Paris has made only maybe like 4 race starts in ACC, so he's still fairly new. Running up in P6 is pretty solid. He had 1 podium last season in Paul Ricard, which was completely out of nowhere. And now he's found himself in gold class. And yeah, focusing solely on ACC now, and I think that's probably going to help him acclimatise to how different the game is compared to other racing games. And he's putting a good show. He's beaten a truckload of gold drivers at the moment, including the defending champion, who's still stuck behind Steenstra as they come round the corner. Western is at the head of this pack now, actually, so it looks like they've all caught up to Western, who's started to drop back a little bit. Everything looking fairly comfortable here between in the battle for P2 between Coleman and Weatherston. Scanlon is behind Weatherston. I don't know when that happened. Anyway. Oh, stop go penalty. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. Okay, Tidswell, what's happened? This driver, everyone will know in ALR as Big Beaver. Tier 1 driver in GT7, very quick, but he's found himself down in 31st place. Freivogel, who was up in P2 for quite a while, down in P30 now. He's just, well, 29. Bayliss must have had an issue somewhere. He's dropped behind a few drivers. He's approaching his ART teammate Sally, so I think that'll be a fairly straightforward overtake for him. They've got quite a way to go to catch up to Maurer. Down in 27th, Fracas is in the pits. What's he doing? He's doing his mandatory stop. That's what he's doing. So he's going to drop back potentially a little bit. Capel down in 24th. He is still the highest driver who's made a pit stop. So a lot of these drivers opting to go more the traditional route, which is to go half the race. We've got 9 minutes before we hit the halfway point. So Capel and all these other drivers have pit incredibly early. Usually you only pit early when you've damaged your car and you need to fix it, because that's just going to be quicker and deal with the tyre issues later. But I don't think I saw any issues for Capel. I could be wrong. Andy, meanwhile, the lead has been cut down to 1.4 seconds. It goes a little bit wide on the exit of that corner, so potentially starting to struggle in that Mustang. Unlike Coldman, who's now, for the very first time, less than a second back on Andy. This is a battle of the Mustangs for P1 and P2. Weatherston right behind, and Scanlon in there for good measure as well. So we've got 4 drivers separated by just 2 seconds. As you see, Andy Winter's coming around this corner. He's getting the time is really coming down. There's another 10th that Coldman has shredded off the time. They're going to have some cars to lap as well, which is going to make things spicy. Let's see who that is. 777. That's Bayliss that they're coming up to. As we head to the corkscrew, Andy's extended again by a couple of tenths there, so feeling a bit more comfortable in the middle part of the lap. Now this really difficult one, if his tyres are overheating, these will be the corners where it becomes apparent. I mean, that doesn't look like a 9/10 of a second gap anymore to me. Let's see what the gap is. If he nails this final corner and has a little bit of breathing space, he could potentially put a lap on Bayliss, and Bayliss will rejoin in between him and Coldman, which would be ideal. Coldman gains another 10th in the final sector. Bayliss completely bails out the way, and everyone's going through. So that's not good news for Andy. I think he might have wanted it to be made a little bit more difficult for everyone else. Lots of clear air now before they reach the next car as well. Interesting that there's no Ferraris in the top 4. Actually, it's no Ferraris in the lead pack at all. So the most popular car is not doing it today for one reason or another. Coldman really allowed Davey to close the gap a lot in that straight, and all of a sudden Andy's looking a little bit more comfortable. He's built the gap up back over a second. And Coldman's now looking like the one who might be a little bit in trouble. Ooh, a little bit wide around that corner as well for Coldman. I think Andy might not have taken it well. He looked really close to Coldman there. Coldman really wobbly on the exit. This is going to be Davy's best chance to get the overtake done. The gap is 0.2 of a second. He's going to have to be brave on the brakes if he's going to do it. Coldman is probably... well, he's not defending the inside, but he doesn't even have a sniff there. So I don't know if the Huracan's slow on the straights. We know the Mustang is fast on the straights. That's its biggest strength. As Paris becomes the first of the front runners since Capel many laps ago to come into the pits here. So we'll be interested to see where he comes out in relation to Capel. They were right next to each other just before the pit stops as well. Dan was holding Capel up, if anything. Again, Davy's looking really racy now. Yeah, defensive Coldman into the corner, into the corkscrew as well. Nose to tail through every single corner here. If Coldman makes the slightest mistake, Davey is going to be able to pounce. Again, Slim a little bit wide out of that corner. And it looks like Davey this time gets a poor exit. Now Scanlon is right behind him, so a bit of breathing space now for the first time in quite a while for Coldman, and Scanlon all over the back of Davey, who yeah, just had an issue with getting on the throttle on the exit of that final corner. Now let's see where Dan's come out. Dan is comfortably ahead of Capel by about 12-13 seconds. So that ended up being a good decision for him. He's got a second and a bit to Popov, Rotikos in P17, who hasn't come into the pits yet. So a little bit of clear air. At the front, Andy's got dropped back below a second. So little mistakes potentially creeping in Andy's driving now. We are approaching the pit stop window. Andy's not going to be in a rush to pit. He's got clear air in front of him, but he might have to respond to any pit stop decisions that the drivers behind make. Slim might want to duck in and try and maintain the lead or grab the lead with an undercut. It's difficult to know if the undercut's going to be worth it. It depends on really what the tyre temperatures are like on these cars right now, if they can carry on us. Looks like no one's coming in from the front. Morrow up in P6 now with the pit stops. Steenstra 7th, Omoda in 8th. We know Omoda likes to go very long. Freddie Cabras in 9th ahead of Andy Cabras in 10th. So both of them, where they started, they just swapped positions at the moment. Whoa, Davies loving getting close in the corners. Pretty good recovery so far for Davey after his little foray off track earlier. He's still up in P3. Okay, now they're approaching blue flags pretty quickly. There was a big gap in front of Andy. Now there's two cars about to approach. Looks like one of them's just lapped the other one as well. There's one of the ART drivers. And there's Morrow. Oh, there's the lapped car getting well out the way. Don't make contact with your teammate. But yeah, a bit of a scruffy lap there. Andy's in the gravel as well, just for good measure. Okay, Coldman's coming into the pits, and following him is Scanlon. Coldman, Andy Winters and Davey have carried on, so they're going to become the top two now. Looks like Davey putting a lap on someone. Coldman in the pits, Scanlon in the pits. Morrow's carried on. Steenstra has carried on. He's going to be up into P4 now, and Weston is going to be back in the top 5 after dropping down a little bit. He's going to still have to make his pit stop. Omoda has caught right up to the back of him. So let's stick with this little battle, and then we'll see where some of these drivers come out. Current highest driver who's pitted is Dan, down in 16th. So expecting those two to really be ahead of him. It's pretty tidy driving by Weston and Omoda here. No little twitches, pretty smooth. It's like a bit of damage on Weston's car. It looks like a bit of front bumper damage will be hindering his time. That's probably why he's been dropping back. He's had some sort of incident. Could it have been the Freivogel thing? Potentially. Okay, out of the pits comes Coldman. He's literally just come out now. He is... We're going to have to wait and see what happens when he crosses this sector line. He's in 11th. And he is ahead of Chaos and Scanlon. So Chaos is separating the two of them. That is quite a big difference in time between Coldman and Scanlon. So yeah, Coldman really doing well in the pit sequence. Potentially was a bit braver entering the pits than Scanlon was. There could be a lot of time won and lost doing stuff like that. It's not always potentially fixing the cars, because I don't think either of them had cars that needed fixing. Meanwhile, at the front, Andy Winters carries on. He's got loads more clear air in front of him, so he still is in absolutely no rush to make a pit stop here. She's got an 11-second lead on Western as well. We've got Davey in the pits now. Let's see where he comes out of compared to Coleman. Remember, Coleman was ahead of him. It's going to be tight. Coleman is going through turn 1 as we speak. Davey gets to cut turn 1. And where is he? I can't see. Come on, camera. It looks like he's behind. He's dropped behind Slim. But he's still ahead of Morrow. And Morrow's ahead of Scanlon. Scanlon's had an issue because somehow Morrow's got ahead of him. He's dropped time to Coleman, definitely. A couple of seconds at least. Oh no, never mind. Never mind. It was the game playing tricks on me. Morrow's actually behind him. He's still stuck behind Chaos. Okay, never mind. But crucially for Davey, Davey was just ahead of Scanlon when they came into the pits, and he is ahead. He stayed ahead of him. Actually extended a little bit. Looks like Scanlon's stuck behind Chaos for now, so we'll see if Chaos comes into the pits, because that's going to allow Scanlon to potentially start to close the gap again and not lose too much ground with Coleman and Weatherston. Andy Winter's in the pits now as well. There's the overtake for Scanlon. And yeah, Chaos doesn't mind it. Here comes Coleman, and here is Andy Winters. He's pretty far back coming out of the pits. I think he's going to lose a few positions here. Coleman's definitely ahead. And he's battling with the Lexus of Chaos. That means he's behind Davey. That means he's behind Scanlon as well. So, yeah, staying out, not the right thing to do for Andy. He's lost his podium, let alone his win, with that decision. Omoda classically staying out longer than everyone else. So, our net race leader is the man who is our current GT7 Tier 1 Championship leader. Is he going to be leading the ACC Championship after tonight as well? He's got a 1.8 second lead on Davey right now. He's got a nice gap that he can try and maintain for the next 27 minutes. This would be, I think this might be his third race. I remember him battling in, like, within the top 10 at various times. Made some errors, including, you know, the typical, like, pit lane errors and stuff like that. Oh, actually, I think it was corner cutting, not the pit lane, that was getting him. Yep, he's maintaining the gap pretty well. Let's see if it's still 1.8, 1.7. So Davey catching him by a tenth there. Scanlon 3.6 behind now. A little bit of chaos behind. Looks like Andy and Morrow having a nice little scrap. And there's some drivers that are, I think, are lapped just ahead of them having a scrap as well. So Morrow fancies taking the position off Andy, our pole sitter, versus our current champion. And yeah, that's just a lapped car getting out of the way. So it's looking comfortable at the moment for Andy. Omoda carrying on once again with a big lead. It looks like he's got some nice clear air as well. So yeah, Davey he only caught up about a tenth that lap, not even. So not the best signs for his challenge for the win. And yeah, Slim's been in this position before, just not in this game. So it'll be interesting to see if that just translates over naturally. So far so good though. Scanlon looking comfortable. Andy still really close, a little bit wide there, kicking up the dust. Morrow is having a look. He still just can't get alongside, even with the better exit. These cars are just really not not built for overtaking by the looks of things, which is a bit unfortunate for a viewer. Chaos still out. Now he's holding up Dan. Dan is down in 8th. Capale, who pit first, is down in 14th. So I think the early pit stop gamble didn't pay off, or potentially he had to make some repairs. Either way, it's not worked out. Chaos is yeah, the only driver who's not made a pit apart from Omoda. He's in bronze. He was leading bronze, so it'll be interesting to see if he's still going to be. He's avoided getting lapped, which is crucial, whereas some of his fellow bronze drivers are probably getting lapped roundabout now by various cars, costing them time. He finally comes into the pit, so we'll have to see. Sanchez is the other highest placed bronze driver. He's down in 19th. It says 2 laps down. I'm not sure if that's correct. But if he is, then this is looking very, very good for Druid to get his very first win. I'm pretty sure this is going to be his first win in class, to get his season kicked off pretty nicely. Coldman and Weatherston just putting a lap on that lovely orange Beamer. Ditto for these two. Taking quite different lines through the corners. Winter's going a little bit wide around that corner. Morrow taking a tighter line through it. Oh, Morrow's nearly lost it. He's nearly lost it. He really did well to save it though. Right, Omoda is still carrying on. So Coleman's going to have to wait to lead his first ever lap. Even though he's the net race leader, still never led a lap in ACC. Scanlon's 4 seconds back now. He's dropping time to Davey. Andy's really far off. He's still holding Morrow behind him though. Yep, there's Morrow. Then we got Paris just ahead of Steestra and Freddie Cabras. So Freddie recovering up into 9th now. Andy's still in 10th after all these pit stops. And Forza up into 11th after qualifying outside the top 20. So having much better race pace than his qualifying pace. Yeah, there's just no battling. Come on. Like, you look at the 6th, 10th gap and you go there and there's like... You could fit a building in between the two cars. Yeah, you can't fit a building between these two though. Morrow really putting the pressure on Andy. Andy going wide there. That's going to bring him even closer. Andy's wide around that corner as well. This is Morrow's chance into the final corner if he's feeling brave. They are alongside. Andy really squeezes him, and that was unfortunate for Morrow. He was kind of... He was given a very stern defence there from Andy. And the question, I suppose, is going to be, did Andy leave him enough space? Because he did steer right before he steered left to take the corner at a better angle. And yeah, Morrow ended up off track. Or was it that actually that Morrow turned in a little bit too soon and Andy wasn't turning yet? It could have been either one. You can't really tell when you've only got one chance to see it live. So yeah, 1.3 seconds is the gap now. Weatherston's still half a second back on Coldman. Coldman finally is the leader of the race for the first time because Omoda's come into the pits. Andy comes out in 6th. That is a fantastic sequence for Omoda. He's definitely overtaken a huge chunk of cars there. Stays in 6th place. Weston down into 12th. Wow, he's had some issues. He's still got some damage. I'm going to assume he didn't heal it. Davey must have had a bit of an issue because he's dropped to 1.3 behind Coldman now. Ooh. Looks like Steenstra's got ahead of Paris. So what's happening with Paris? Paris falling backwards now. It looks like a huge group of cars really close together here. Paris in his Bentley ahead of Freddie Cabras. Freddie wants the position. Steestra has already got it and is marching up the road, 1.4 seconds up the road. Dan a little bit out of sorts here. He's got a little bit of damage on his car as well, so does Freddie. Now it depends how severe that is, because different levels of damage can affect you in different ways in ACC, just like in real life. Looks like Freddie is close, maybe not close enough to have a go at taking the position. So he's going to have to stay behind Dan for now. Oh, here he comes. Is he alongside? He's gone for it. That was a great overtake from Cabras. Dan is just tucked up behind him. Looks like a little bit of contact between the two of them. Freddie dives up into the inside to defend it into the corner, and it looks like he's got it. Is there a switchback on the cards for Dan? It doesn't look like it. There's some dust being kicked up from the car in front as well. And it looks like it could be a done deal now. Oh god, what's going on up there? So let's see what's going on at the front, because it looks like that position's done and dusted. Good overtake there from Freddie. So Coldman in P1, 29 laps into this race. We've got 18 minutes left. Can he maintain this gap over Davey? He's got a 1.1 second lead over him at the moment, which is nice, healthy cushion. He's not too much any wing mirrors giving you grief. Scanlon 3.7 seconds down on Davey. He's got a really good chance of getting into the podium because he's completely dropped Andy. Andy really is more focused on keeping his P4 ahead of Morrow. Morrow's starting P13, has worked his way up to 5th. And yeah, Andy's struggling there. Morrow having another sniff. He should have really got alongside, but it's not to be for now. So we negotiate the corkscrew once again. Looks like Scanlon's actually closing in on Davey a little bit now. So that's one to keep an eye on. Morrow's still not able to do anything at all to overtake the Mustang. We saw this loads last season. You can't overtake the Mustang unless it makes a mistake. And at the moment, you got one Mustang in P1, and one Mustang who would be P1 if he'd pitted it a few laps earlier. So I don't know, guys. My advice would be take the points hit, is use the Mustang for the rest of the season, because it just, yeah, like if you can't overtake the car, it's already hard enough overtaking an ACC if you've got a slight pace advantage, but when you've got the straight line speed and the acceleration, even if you don't corner that well, yeah, there's just nothing any other cars could do. Slim is in P1, yes. He's going to be leading both championships in ACC and GT7 as it stands, which is absolutely insane. I don't think we've ever had that before. We need to give him some sort of special role if he is actually leading both standings after today. Also, he's a silver driver. Slim is a silver driver. And he's beating every gold driver. The helpers have had an absolute mare there. Anyway, end of lap 30, and we've got a 4/10 of a second gap between Coldman and Weatherston. So it is closing in. That was a bit of a scruffy lap for Coldman compared to Weatherston, and this might be the point of the race. Last 15 minutes where he's going to start putting pressure. He's already looking and giving the little fake out that he's going to go for some outrageous dive bomb. It didn't spook Coldman. He stayed ahead for now, and yeah, he's going to have to get used to those little fake outs there if he's going to keep this position. Hello, RDO. Slim is winning. I hope we have him as one of the fast ACC drivers for the charity race and not one of the slower ones, because this is completely unexpected. The Ford Mustang is an absolute beast here. He's ahead of Davey. Davey was doing pretty well. He had a little half spin, and now he's recovered back up into P2. Only lost. He didn't actually lose that much time with it though. He lost, I think, 3 positions. Yeah, Coleman just qualifying incredibly well and racing incredibly well. So yeah, it does translate, and he's in his composure, considering this is his first time he's ever led in an ACC race or even been close to the lead, has been incredibly good. It looks like he's a little bit wobbly out of that final corner. Davey is close, but as we know, it's not going to be close enough to make a move into turn 1 when he's that far back. Yeah, Omoda did really well. He's made huge amount of positions by staying out later than everyone else, which is his trademark strategy. But yeah, nothing Weatherston could do right now. A little bit further back, Andy Winters was leading the race up to the pit stop, stayed out a little bit too late. Probably made a few mistakes because he's quite far off the pace now. Scanlon's enclosed in another second on Weatherston and Coldman. So he's going to join the party pretty soon, although he was a little bit in the gravel there. But yeah, let's stick with this battle for the front, because we've got 13.5 minutes left until the end of this race. And Weatherston is only 0.3 of a second behind Coleman as it stands. Well, make that 0.6, so a little bit of a better sector there for Coleman. They're coming up to some lapped cars. So this is going to be a bit of a treacherous time. They'll know that the cars being lapped will know that this is P1 and P2 coming up behind them, so hopefully they're nice and sensible. There's Tierney. Of course he'll be sensible. If he's not, he'll never hear the end of it. And there, he's off to the left. And yeah, a really good exit there for Coleman. Looks like Weatherston was a little bit wobbly on the exit. Has lost a couple of tenths there, I'd say. And now Tierney actually slips in between both of them. Actually, no, he slows down. Well, yeah, Weatherston has to go a little bit wide around turn 1 to lap the car, which isn't ideal for him. He's going to potentially drop another couple of tenths in this sector as well. But apart from that, Coleman has a few seconds, maybe 4 or 5 seconds before he catches up to the next car that you can see just going off screen in front of us. Skinsy is red. Yeah, no, Skinsy's not. Skinsy's a gold driver. And Coleman's not. Yeah, red means bronze. So, but there's no. Yeah, I think that's just a SimGrid thing. However it was put in, I'm not too sure. A little bit further down, Freddie overtook Dan. He's now built a 5.4 second lead on Dan. It's 3 seconds behind Steestra. So Steestra stole the march on both of them. And it's starting to get caught by Freddie Cabras a little bit there. Omoda in P6 is looking pretty solid. He's just put a lap on another car, so he's not under any sort of pressure. Morrow still stuck behind Andy. Andy still driving pretty solidly here, although he really struggles with that second to last corner. Every time I see him lose a huge chunk of car length to any car that he's fighting there, and that's allowed Morrow to close in by another 3/10. But yeah, let's see what's happening back at the front. So they've got their way past a couple of these lapped cars, which helped Coleman out. Now we're up to another lapped car there, a very beaten and battered car. It looks quite sad. 0.2 of a second is the gap at the moment. Is Davey going to go for it? No, he doesn't. He's still not close enough to have a proper go at taking the lead. This car in front isn't in a rush to get out of the way by the looks of things. Oh, looks like he went completely wide at that over the sausage curb in that corner. I think he's off track there. Anyway, they are past him now as we approach the corkscrew. Weatherston incredibly close still. He's doing so well to stay glued to the rear of Coleman at the moment. A little bit of a different line from the two of them. Coleman with a wider line and Weatherston with, oh my god, with look at that. No, that's one way of getting out of the way for P1. Weatherston having a little look again. and nothing he could do there, and he's going to be a little bit out of shape, a little bit deep there as well for Coldman, which is actually going to give Weatherston a chance finally of trying to pull alongside. But once again, the Mustang is just kicking in at the top end, and yeah, Davey just didn't stand a chance. This Mustang is a different beast. Whoa, what is going on with these lapped cars? That was Bayless, I think. Yeah, it was. Okay. Anyway, battle for P1. Scanlon, meanwhile, has joined this because of all this drama that's happening around with these lap cars. So we've got 3 of them separated by half a second at the moment. It could go any way. We've got 9 minutes to go, and it's all come together quite nicely. Morrow could have been in this fight, but he's been stuck behind cars all race long and hasn't managed to get past Andy for a very long time now. About 20 minutes, I think we're getting up to. Davey a little bit dodgy out of that corner. Now he's coming under pressure himself from Scanlon. This is a tough spot for Davey to be in, to be honest, in the middle of the sandwich, because you've got less space, essentially. You've got no space behind you, you've got no space ahead of you, so you have to be very precise with how you brake for corners. Otherwise, you could end up rear-ending someone or getting rear-ended yourself. But these guys are very experienced, and well, Coleman's not on this game, but he's still showing his experience. It's yeah, insane. You just waltz over to another game and beat everyone who's been playing it for 5 seasons. What a way to announce your intentions for the series. Slim also is part of the current reigning esports champions as well for ALR. Oh, Davey really wide there. That's gonna again bring Scanlon close. And Davey instantly going defensive for the next corner, so Scanlon's actually going to be able to pull alongside here. It's going to be a chance for a switchback if Davey gives him the space. And they're losing a lot of time here. Scanlon's still kind of... No, he's not. He has to pull out. Ah, oh, it was so close to seeing an overtake. Never mind. Yeah, Coldman's part... What was I saying? Coldman's part of the current reigning ALR esports champions as well, Arix. Had a big influence in winning that one as well for them. So yeah, he's got a pedigree pretty much everywhere in ALR at the moment. The question is though, because he is still a rookie in this game, this has been an impressive performance, but is it going to be sustainable over the course of the season? Laguna is one of the tracks on GT as well, I might add. So he knows the track like the back of his hand. That, I'm sure that was a big advantage. Mustang's fast on the straights and a little understeer. Yeah, basically it's one of those cars that you can't overtake because as soon as it gets in a straight line, it just is just much better than you. So yeah, I think everyone should be in the Mustang. That it seems like the meta car to me, but everyone's in the Ferrari, and I think that is not because of performance, but because it's a Ferrari, and it's just nice to drive Ferraris. It is quite a stable car, to be fair, so I understand. And yeah, half of the people who drive them are Italian drivers as well. But yeah, that does explain it. Although there's loads of Brits in here, and none of them are driving British cars apart from Dan, who's got a French name. So 6 minutes to go, and it's settled down a little bit at the front. Coleman managing a gap of about 0.8 per second, and Davey still looking a little bit more over his shoulder at Scanlon than he is at Coleman. Save the replay. Yeah, I'll save the replay. If I remember how to. I haven't been on this game since the last race. I was actually a bit worried there was going to be a massive update, but fortunately not. Yeah, Scanlon closing the gap again by about 0.1 to Davey, but he's still not close enough. They aren't coming up... Well, they actually might have to lap car 53. Who's car 53? Burkhardt, one of the people making their debut, I'm pretty sure. So he's going to get lapped probably before the end of the race. That might be the best opportunity for one of these guys to try and attack and get a position. Aston's your fave. I don't know what my favourite... McLaren's probably my favourite, to be fair. On this game, I picked the Ford Mustang though. I tried the McLaren and I didn't know how to drive it, but that was probably my problem more than anything else. No one's in. Oh no, Popov's in the McLaren and Sanchez. We had way more McLarens last season. So Coleman struggling a little bit with Davies going for it, and he can't. That is just a different line that Coleman takes through it, a much wider line, and it seems to work for him. Davey, as close as you're going to see him. Oh, Scadler's completely lost it, and these two are still battling it out in this corner. Oh, Scadler's completely lost that position, but we're side by side. This is advantage Davey now. We've got 4 minutes left. He's got his nose in front, and he's got the inside line for the next corner. Is the Mustang going to be able to power ahead? It does power ahead into the brake zone, but what could he do? We've got two left-handers here, which favour Davey, and he's got P1 now, and what can Coleman do? Is he able to respond, or is this game over, and are we going to see another season of Davey domination? We've got two-time champion in ALR leading the race again, with our rookie having sacrificed that P1. He did so well to get there, and I think he'll be really gutted with that. Looks like it's not going to be one driver leading both GT and ACC championships at the same time, at least not for now. He's still within 0.3 of a second. Scanlon is still in third place. He had such a huge lead over Andy that that spin didn't punish him as much as I expected it to. I mean, he's still only 5 seconds off Coleman. He was completely in the wall, I thought. But yeah. Looks like we're going to see a Lamborghini winning the race today. Lamborghini looks strong in ACC, this Huracan, which is really strong in GT as well, actually. So all round a good car, which is a bit concerning because we're going to be doing our charity race in about a month's time, where the Lamborghini is one of the options. So I think that team, I'm not sure who's got that one, might end up doing pretty well if I was a betting man. Well, I'll have to see who's actually driving for it though. If it's Davey, yeah, I'm very worried. So Coleman's dropped to 0.8 back on Davey. Davey's just coming up to the lapped car now. The lapped car is Burkhardt. Let's see how this is negotiated. Hopefully, yeah, he's already out of the way. This is going to be fairly straightforward for these two to get past by the looks of things. Thank you very much. Now, the last key battle here is the one that's been going on for half a race now. Andy Winter's still only 0.3 of a second ahead of Morrow. Andy was on incredibly good pace in the first stint. Hasn't shown the same pace in the second at all. Hasn't been able to keep up with the leaders. But he has done a great job at keeping Morrow behind him. So a P4 out of his day's efforts is not bad, but maybe you'll have expected a bit more with getting pole position. But yeah, really frustrating. Yeah, Slim, of course, is driver of the day. Absolutely. This is one of the best drives I've seen since I started commentating in ACC. Absolutely unexpected. You love to see it. You love to see new people come in and make the grown men of the sport sweat a little bit. Oh, here he goes. That was incredibly reckless. Bloody hell. What? I can see why he went for it. To be honest, I think maybe he just braked a little bit too late. Didn't work out, but Andy keeps the position. No real harm done to either of them because they're still both comfortably ahead of Omada as well. But yeah, that was a bit of fun at the end of the race. We've got 1 minute left, so we are nearly on the final laps now. Seen this happen before with Morrow. He does get he is one of the ones that is going to go for it. That's how I'm going to phrase that. Definitely will go for it. He's been very patient in this stint, and that probably is the only time that he has actually went for it. It didn't work out at all. It was nearly a huge incident, but they managed to avoid that pretty well. Let's see what Davey's going to do. He's actually going to get one more lap in, so that means everyone has another lap of the race. He's done that with 20 seconds to spare as well. Coldman has dropped now to 1.6 seconds behind. So yeah, he was definitely holding Davey up. Davey definitely had the pace on Coldman, which we can see now, maybe 3 or 4 tenths a lap by the looks of things. Scanlon slowly closing the gap to Coldman as well, but this is going to be the last lap now. The 60 minutes has just finished. And he's still just ahead of Morrow. Morrow's still putting loads of pressure on him. Almost pushing him around the corner, it looks like. Still nothing he could do though. Andy's driving a very good final lap here so far. Corkscrew, potentially his last chance to get close enough. And he's pretty smooth through there as well. Let's join with Davey. He's approaching the final corner and nearly completely lost it with a half spin earlier on in the race. Fell 3 positions, recovered them all, managed to overtake our silver driver Slim to take the very first victory of Season 5. Slim's going to take 2nd place after an incredible performance. Scanlon with P3 in the end. And then Andy, it looks like he has held off Morrow to take home P4 for our pole sitter, P5 for our reigning champion Morrow, P6 for Omoda after his very late pit stop, which worked out well for him. Freddie Cabras up into P7 after his earlier troubles. Deedstra is just approaching the final corner. He's going to get a top 10 result, which is pretty decent. Dan has actually caught back up to him pretty well on this final lap, but he's going to get P8. Looks like he had some troubles in that the last little bit of that final stint. Dan P9, he should be pretty pleased with that. Weston was doing really well at the start of the race, has fallen back to P10. Then outside the top 10 we've got Forza, P11 on his one of his appearances this season. Hopefully we see a lot more of him and we see him back in the top 10. Andy Cabras in P12 in the end, so he's dropped a couple of positions from the start, but still a solid result. That's P2 in class, but I expect it'll turn into a P1 in class because Slim's going to be a gold driver after this week. Capel is going to take P13, and the last driver to finish on the lead lap is Reginix. Then we have Freivogel after his issues is recovered to 15th. Dandes is in 16th. Tierney in 17th. Sanchez takes the win in bronze ahead of O'Leary in 19th. Van Hall 2nd in bronze. Chaos dropped to 3rd in bronze in the end. Unfortunately for him, Burkhardt is 22nd. Then we got Tidswell, Bayliss, Blocker, Maurer, Popov, Black, Salis, and Oliver. And in last place, 26 laps down, is Brian. So that's it. Well, we're in familiar territory. It's Davey on top once again. Let's see. I don't actually know where we are next week. Let's have a quick look at the calendar. We are taking a trip over to Europe. We're at Barcelona, Seca to Catalunya. Very tough track on the tyres as well. It's going to overheat tyres, I reckon. And that's going to be the interesting thing there. We've got very long straight, so hoping to see more overtaking on it as well. So yeah, join me then. Thanks for watching, guys.